Good day, everybody. I know it's early and I usually do my lives at night, but I got some stuff to do tonight. So, good day. Good morning, grand rising, whatever you say. We talked about the gift. We're still on it. But today I wanted to talk about identifying self-love red flags. Because within you trying to walk into your gift, you have to identify those self-love red flags within yourself in order to properly walk into that gift. So, how we're beginning this process, we got to identify the self-love red flags. Do you speak negative to yourself? Are you a people pleaser? Um, do you treat people better than you treat yourself? Do you talk to yourself in a way that you wouldn't even talk to anybody else? Do you believe in yourself? Because in order to walk in your gift, you're going to have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe that you can do it, you're not going to walk into that gift. I look mad greasy. So we need to address some of those things. You can be the type of person you set unrealistic goals for yourself. And within setting those unrealistic goals for yourself, you feel like a failure, but you've never really sat down and said, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do this, and this. But taking the easiest task and doing the easiest task first and then building on it. You want to do everything all at one time, it fails, and then you're like, oh, I'm a failure. You're not a failure, you're just not disciplined. You're not a failure, you're just not organized. You're not a failure, you're just not taking the baby steps that lead to the big steps. So, I say so a lot. Are you neglecting yourself when it comes to self care? Because you can't walk in your gift and feel like I'm walking in my gift, but at the same time, I don't take care of my own self. So how are you helping somebody else if you don't take care of your own self? You have to be able to take care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it. You have to be able to take care of yourself in order to help somebody else. That whole pouring from an empty cup is it's so played out, but it's so true. You can't pour from an empty cup. And then you're sitting there like, oh, well, this one's draining me. This one's doing this one, that. You letting them do it. So once you get it in your head that I'm not going to let people take more than I can give, that starts the process of, for one, building boundaries and keeping those boundaries and saying no. When you know you just can't do it. Someone calling you in the middle of the night, just wanting to talk to you and just wanting to vent. When you know you should be sleeping because you're tired and you need the rest, but you stay on the phone with them because you want to be a good friend or you want to be a good cousin or you want to be a good auntie, when you know you shouldn't answer the phone in the first place because you know they're just calling you to vent. They ain't doing nothing about nothing. They ain't changing nothing. They just talking. You have to get to the point where you're not listening to people just talking. What are we doing? Are we changing this? Okay, I know you need to vent, but what are we doing about it? We're not doing anything about the venting. We're not changing anything. We just want to vent. And most of the time when people vent, they're venting about the same thing. It's the same stuff over and over. Hi, tatted nurse. It's the same stuff over and over. There's nothing has changed about it. It's the same situation. And they're not doing anything about it but calling you and complaining about it. And then when we come to make room for the gifts, after you identify those self-love red flags, the next step is to clear them out. You have to clear this stuff out. Just like the trauma, just like the talking negative to yourself, just being, I'm not going to say that word, but you have to start clearing it out in order for you to walk through and get to where you need to be. A lot of you are complaining about being broke and you're so talented. I know somebody, they complain about being broke and they have this certain skill and they're dope with it, but they constantly complain about being broke. And I'm just like, well, just do this thing until. I even had to tell myself that. Just do this until. Like I sell growth elixirs for hair. I done got plenty of people their edges back. When I say I don't want to do that, but if that's what I got to do until I need to get where I need to be, then that's just what it is. So when you really say to yourself, I need to do what I need to do. So you might need therapy. You're going to have to do some self-reflecting. You're going to have to start setting healthy boundaries with yourself first. Not even, you got to start with yourself first. Because some of y'all don't even have boundaries with yourself. And I can say that because I didn't either. But after a while, I did. And start adopting a new self-care routine. It doesn't have to be over the top with rose petals in your bathtub and all that stuff, unless that's what you want to do. But when it comes to taking care of your inner body, self-care starts there. Someone said to me the other day, they was like, oh my gosh, your skin is glowing. Up the water intake. Good quality water. Do your research on water, because I'm annoyed with doing research on water, but you do your research on the water that you want to drink. Juicing. All I got on my face right now, even though I look mad greasy, is avocado oil. It doesn't take that much. And then the goal is to create a nurturing environment. And if you know that you can't create that environment because of the people around you, you might need to get rid of some of those people for a little while, or take a break from those people. And when I say nurturing environment, I don't mean, oh, somebody pacifying you all day. No, you need to get in an environment where you feel peace. You need to get in an environment where people are not draining you all the time. And you got to get into that environment. And sometimes that place is lonely. Hey, Balloon Compass, that place is lonely. And I'm not going to tell you that it's not. Because when you really start working on yourself, it gets super lonely. And people be like, oh, you can do this, you can do that. No. You got to be by yourself for a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to take you a year, 2 years. Some people it might. Some people it might take them 6 months, 3 months. It depends on how fast you're willing to. It depends on how bad you really want it. If you want peace in your life, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to do to get that peace in your life, because nobody's going to do it for you. I got one coach that's always saying nobody's coming to save you. And it's true. Nobody's coming to save you. If you want to have peace of mind, you want to have a healthy relationship with yourself, some people have to go. Family, boyfriend, girlfriend, sometimes your job. And I'm not telling nobody to quit their job. But sometimes the environments that you are in are creating the chaos, and you're just like, I'm just going to sit in this chaos. No, we're not going to sit in this chaos. We're going to do we're going to do what we need to do. We're going to start walking in our purpose. In order to make room for that gift, you have to start walking in it. And if you're not walking in it, sad to say, your gift is not always about you. Most of the time it's about somebody else, helping somebody else get out of what you were in. And people are watching you. Your kids is watching. You got kids, your kids is watching. You got nieces and nephews, they watching. Kids are always watching. And I think now at this point in my life, I'm going to speak for me. In my life, I'm going to always want any kid that's watching me, especially my own kids, to be better than me. So I can't say be better than me and I'm not being good to myself. I'm not treating myself well. I'm telling them you could do anything you want to do in your life. You can be this, you could be a doctor, you could be that, yada, yada, yada. But I'm not walking in my own purpose. I'm not fulfilling the dreams that I want. You're basically a hypocrite, basically. And there's no getting around it. because you can't say to your kids, you're so smart, you're so this, you're so that. And then they see you being mediocre. And yes, you want to push your kids and you want to tell your kids, they're the greatest and da, 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 you could do whatever you want to do. You could follow your dreams, but you don't follow yours. Yes, this weekend I was pondering that. I am an empty nester and working on myself in this stage. That's awesome. That is awesome. And now you're an empty nester, so you really have that time to work on yourself because nobody's home with you. I don't know if you have a husband or anything like that, but nobody's home with you. So now you really have time to really sit with yourself. And I know a couple of people when their kids became like 17, 18, they had more kids. And I'm thinking to myself, you was almost free. but a lot of people don't like being alone. They don't want to be alone because they're not used to sitting with themselves. And when you get to that point where it's like, oh, I got to be alone, like I don't want to be alone. And I understand some people, like my mother calls my brother her pill baby because she was on a pill. Me and my brother are 17 years apart. But I know some people that purposely went and had more kids because they don't want to be alone. But kids are always going to leave. They're majority of the time they're going to leave. So after a while, you can't even live your life for your kids because they're going to grow up, get married, have kids, or go and do whatever they want to do with their life. They're not going to always be around. So identifying them self-love red flags, talking too fast, feeling unworthy, talking negative to yourself, setting unrealistic goals. You might need to go to therapy and talk to somebody. And I'm not even saying you got to go to therapy all the time. Talk to somebody that has some common sense. I mean, not even common sense, critical thinking skills. Somebody that's going to question you out of whatever's going in your head. And when I mean question you out of it, they're going to ask you questions that nobody else is asking. Because for one, they're trying to make sense of it. And then two, they're trying to think outside the box. Because a lot of times we're in this little box and we're just like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. Why not? You don't need permission from nobody. You don't need permission to do whatever it is that you want to do. You don't need permission. So, making room for that gift. Clearing out those self-love red flags. And then adopting new priorities, setting some boundaries, saying no, not answering the phone. Nothing's going to happen if you don't answer the phone. Trust me. I'm now to the point where I put my phone on airplane mode. And before my mother passed, before she got really sick, my phone was on airplane mode all the time because people were just calling me in the middle of the night. And I'm just like, just because you up don't mean I don't want to talk to you. And just because I'm up don't mean I want to talk to you. So set them boundaries. Set them now. Write them out. Get you a journal. You gotta figure this out, and we gotta figure this out now. So I'll talk to you guys later. And that's about it.